think it was a great panel. You've heard GSMA, or I gave you some insights from GSMA's numbers. We had Ernest open the session, and now that panel was a good wrap-up from the people who would help in the ecosystem create this digital nation journey. So it's very timely to get some comments from the two largest Philippine mobile operators. So I'd like to invite to the stage Darius Delgado, Chief Commercial Officer of Globe, and Martirez, Chief Operating Officer from Smart. So welcome, Darius and You've, we've started the day, and often we start the session with mobile operators talking. So it's good that you've actually had the benefit of hearing a panel before. But also 6 weeks ago, we heard your president talked about the need for greater collaboration across Southeast Asia, highlighting the need to accelerate digital transformation in the Philippines and the broader region. And he also emphasized the need for secure, trusted digital environment to drive innovation and economic growth in ASEAN. And he urged investment in digital infrastructure, cybersecurity and skills to unlock the power of mobile connectivity. And I think that resonates with the panel before, with some of the comments. So Darius, I think, both Smart and Globe have been around for a long time. When I joined Vodafone 20 or more years ago, actually it was the Philippines I studied for innovation, like as a real leader. Wow. So maybe give a few points from your thoughts as how is telcos contributing, how is your core business contributing to the Philippines journey, digital nation, and the journey you've come over the last 20 years?
Thank you for that wonderful question, Julian. So I've been with Globe for 21 years already. And I've seen so much of the journey that it has traversed in the last couple of years. And what we've seen is that we have built in the telco industry a formidable infrastructure that actually bridges the digital divide, promotes a lot of digital inclusion, and henceforth has also promoted the digital economy. So in terms of statistics, we have wired between the two of us plus the other players, more than 6 million customers on postpaid broadband to date. And we have wirelessly connected about more than 120 million customers on mobile across 3 players. And what that has done is that it has spurred a strong and pervasive digital economy or digital ecosystem where you will see 87 million online users. After that, it also brought forth a digital economy so huge that it was able to enable 90 million customers on GCash, 6 million merchants or online sellers in the digital era, also provided 6 million jobs, including gig economy workers of about 2 million. And it also has provided the dependency on connectivity for more than 150,000 enterprises and small and medium enterprises. And that contributed to 2.1 trillion pesos in terms of the digital economy's economic value or benefit. That actually translates to 9% of our national GDP, and it's expected to grow to 5 trillion in 2030, and that at that time it will constitute about 27% of the GDP of our economy. And that, of course, necessitates true collaboration between the private and the public sectors because the private sector alone cannot spur that growth. And I think a lot of partnerships with the government is really necessary to really harness the economic value that the digital economy will bring forth for the Philippines.
There's some impressively large numbers. And in a country which I think was mentioned before, a difficult geography. So from your perspective, it is a difficult geography, prone to disasters. The number of typhoons just in the last week or so makes it a very challenging nation to actually build this digital economy and to create the infrastructure. So do you see new technologies enhancing the potential and the growth from here? Or how do you see the infrastructure future?
Oh, absolutely. Is my mic working? Okay, well, maybe to put context, um, I want to wish everyone ahead a very constructive session. But to put context into why me and my colleague are being here, we were just ruing a while ago why we got shanghaied here when we were both struggling with our budget. It's budget time. So, anyway, anyway, but we're very glad to be here. Smart, to begin with, was one of the pioneers in telecommunications in the Philippines. Back in the day, we started many innovations that defined us. We started Price Buster, which was not about price. It was about ARPU driving. It actually revolutionized the industry. It made the cell phone be placed in the hands of millions of Filipinos when before cell phones were a thing of luxury. We were the first in the industry to introduce smart money ahead of GCash.
Okay. That's well noted.
And at the time, we had 75% of the market share. Okay. Somewhere along the way, something happened, but that's not a problem. I'm back. I want to bring it back. I want to rebuild, and I hope I can retake. You asked how would we as telcos address the challenges of an archipelagic situation and in the face of technology. Let me answer it like this. As a telco practitioner, one should go beyond technology. One should focus on customer satisfaction. That should be the aspiration. Because Filipinos deserve the best in service, global standards. And that's what we aspire for. We use technology to work for that. That's what we've been doing. So, I come back here now, and I am really amazed at what Smart and PLDT has built. Stacks of the best rich IP network, IP ecosystem built by submarine cables, international submarine cables, coupled with a robust complex of domestic submarine cables that connect all the islands, and data centers that have 60% of the market that basically provide data. On these three platforms alone sits basically what we offer, our 4G and 5G technology, including SA. And this is basically what we say we will do and give we aim for customer satisfaction.
It's great, inspiring words to focus on the customer. I suppose both of you are veterans of this industry in the country, and obviously globally you've been part of it as well. The Google report just recently promoted that Philippines is the fastest growing digital economy. I think you've been around long enough. I mentioned that times have changed with mobile money and things. What do you see as driving it, and what do you see your role in driving that digital economy? I'll give it to Darius.
Can I answer first? Okay. So thank you for that question again,
You're
Julian.
the sponsor. You answer first.
Okay. I thought you meant I was younger. So.
Hey, I'm 71, but this is the new 35.
Age doesn't matter. Don't worry. So net, I think it's basically a function of how young the Philippine population is, because our median or average age today is actually 24.8 years, as compared to our ASEAN comparator benchmarks only at 28 years. China is at 40 years, but the global average is 31. So that also means there's a lot of potential in terms of harnessing the power of the youth, which number around like 42 million Gen Zs in the Philippines, a third of our population. And in the next 5 years, we estimate around 11 million customers who are new intenders to the mobile base. So that's 1 to 2 million customers, really new customers in a highly saturated market entering the mobile industry with a mobile-first service. So that presents a huge opportunity in the consumer sector. But when you talk about the B2B side of things, when we looked at our base and even the market at large, there's a lot of latent demand on solutions. Because compared to the consumer sector, who are really the purveyors of data habituation in this country, who adopt faster in terms of data services, the enterprises and the SMEs are relatively laggards in that space. That's why we see a lot of digitally emergent cohorts in our own B2B base, both in enterprises and SMEs, that only purchase core from us. So there's a lot of awareness and education that needs to be built in terms of how ICT in certain business solutions can help make their operations more effective, more efficient, more pervasive, so they can fully harness the potential of their businesses. At the same time, improve the experiences of their respective customers. So whether it's B2B we look at, whether it's the consumer sector, despite the fact that we are highly penetrated in the market in terms of mobile data, there's still huge opportunity that can be had. There's so much more that we can see.
Thanks, Darius.
Thank you. I would never like to upstage my colleague. But the question is, how do we move forward? I think that's the context, right, Julian? We'd like to see technology, and technology in terms of basically cybersecurity, and more importantly, AI. AI, favorite subject. AI is not anymore a future possibility. It is now a reality. It is a reality that we must embrace. We must be ready. We must lead. Take in the local industry. One of the darling industries in the Philippines is the BPO industry. 7.5% of our GDP. 7.5%. And teeming millions of workforce. Now, what do you think? AI comes with the chatbots and the bots. These guys are in danger of being displaced. I foresee, not 2 years, in 18 months, this will dissipate. This will dissipate unless they upskill. And upskill, they must. And we as telcos have a role to play. Because in upskilling, we gotta build the most robust internet connection. Because upskilling is based on internet.
Can I add to that? It's a good topic. I think we're advancing the topics, Julian. So I think AI is all the rage now, but it also means that everyone is actually very excited about it. When you look at the journey of the Filipinos in terms of AI, adoption is really high because we have a very huge Gen Z population who's data savvy, who's tech savvy, who's all about exploring and pursuing what's new and being ahead of the curve. And because we have like 42 million among them, we see AI-powered tools being adopted even at the workplace at 50% utilization. And that's basically driven to the extent of 52% by the Gen Zs. And Boy is correct. You have to leverage the AI curve. Otherwise, you get left behind. But our belief also is that Gen AI by itself will not replace people. But people who are skilled on Gen AI will replace those who don't use Gen AI. So that's our belief. And I think it also requires a lot of preparations across telcos because fundamental to that is that we have to have a robust digital infrastructure that keeps on getting better and better. Hence, also our foray in SCT GDC in terms of data center investments because we're preparing for an immediate future where we are AI capacitized and we are AI ready. And Boy is also correct in terms of we have to upskill and educate our own workforce so that we use AI responsibly. Because in Globe, we stand for a globe of good. In terms of AI, that translates to an AI of good. It has to be for the society. It has to be for the good of the nation at large and cannot be abused.
I think there's good words. I mean, GSMA is obviously has a AI ethics framework, and I know we work with Globe on that. But boy, I mean, mobile operators are the intersection of enabling AI, but also adopters. Darius mentioned inside the organization. How about AI in the network?
I'm sorry.
How about AI in the network?
Of course, it is embedded there. But more than that, we shouldn't be too focused on the technology alone, on the network. Be focused on the customer. That's our end goal. Those who'd like to sell networks focus on that. As service providers, as PTEs, as what our government would call us, as telco, we should always focus on the customers. Customers first. Let me continue what I was saying a while ago. I mentioned the BPO industry. But look at our service industry, guys. The service industry in the Philippines is 60% of our GDP. It is now primed to be the next guys to do AI. They're primed for the next AI revolution. They should be ready. But AI starts with education. It starts with education. Because what would this kind of people do who now have bots? They could actually look at the possibility of a hybrid solution. So maybe use AI so that way the more repetitive tasks can be done. And then the Filipinos could now concentrate now on more critical thinking, problem solving, and the soft skills of pleasing people. As one expert in our organization, she's an analytics expert. She graduated from MIT. And she says, you know what, with all this technology, what's actually going to happen is that people will go back to humanities. It is the people who will drive the technology, not the other way around. So, talking about education, AI, generative AI, can actually help teachers do their lesson plans. Could actually help tutor students in critical subjects. Organizations, I've read somewhere that those who embrace AI early, they actually achieve shareholder returns 2 to 6 times more than their peers who did not embrace it. We at SMART and PLDT are proud to say that we are the enablers of AI in our organization. We continuously search for tools whereby all members in our organization, from our board, from our shareholders, from our management, from our employees, and most of all our customers, we search for tools so that way they are all enabled and they will all be happy, competing, having fun, and thriving in a digital world.
With that enablement, maybe it's time to turn to digital trust. I mentioned it this morning. So Global Anti-Scam Alliance estimates nearly $500 billion lost in the Philippines in the last 12 months to scams, close to 2% of GDP. How do you see the role of mobile operators in protecting this digital ecosystem, which is so essential to our digital economies and the future digital nations? Darius?
First and foremost, the most important currency today, given all of the digital scams and security and cyber attacks, is actually trust. No matter what you offer to the customer, everything goes away if you are not a trusted brand. And so we have fortified and made resilient all of our cybersecurity controls, making sure that all of the potential cyber attacks we're able to mitigate substantially. But there are some technologies like those instigated by IMSI catchers, which actually bypass our security measures and protocols that remain unresolved. And that's why we are collaborating with GSMA as a powerful organization to actually strengthen governance and standards and security measures and also advocate for stronger regulations over OTT players, where we've seen most of the scam activities also proliferate. So I don't think it's a work of just one player or one operator in the market to make this happen. It's an industry-wide problem and therefore should be solved by the entire industry. And our hopes are high in terms of leveraging our partnership with GSMA to make that happen and really to protect our customers. It's really difficult in this time and age, in this digital era. Our own capabilities won't suffice, but at the end of the day, we exist to serve the industry at large, and we want to leverage on all of our clout and partnerships to make the Philippines a cyber-free or cyber-secure and safe country. And that's what most of the market or the mass market deserves today. They don't earn so much, and they don't deserve to get scammed, no matter how much money or how less money that is. A single peso to them is worth 1,000 for most.
Well, so we're out of time, so I'm just going to ask Boy then, as part of the last question. You're both veterans of the industry. You can cast back of the journey that we've taken in the last 25 years. Where do you see the mobile industry that distant in the future, in another generation, and its role?
Would you like me to say that?
Well,
Maybe before I answer that, let me just do a rejoinder on cybersecurity, because erosion of digital trust is what we're really very mindful of. So there are really only two ways that we can address that. And one is through technology prevention, being ahead of the technology curve. So stacks of firewalls, being ahead of the first provisions that would enable us to avoid. The other one is downright common sense, being able to think how scammers behave, so that way we can avoid them, and being conscious that these can affect our very family. Child pornography, for example, they will invade our family, and that is really very bad. So common sense is very important there. Now, to your point, how do you see the future? We'd like to see that we're not doing a bad job, but on the other hand, we should go away from the idea of thinking like we're just a big pipe. We should think about we are going to be a smart pipe. From a big pipe, you basically just talk about communications, putting network, internet. That's fine. But then if you are a smart pipe, you think about enabling, looking for platforms, working with the GSMA Association, so that way you can instill not only in yourselves as an organization, but even with your consumers, that they become they become solution providers in their own way.
thanks, Boy. Darius, I'll give you the final word.
So I think just two things to summarize. We in the telco sector play a very pivotal role in making sure that the digital economy thrives and moves forward, right? But I think, and therefore, it deserves a lot of fortification in terms of our infrastructure. And we continue to invest not just in security, but capacity, resiliency, availability, and consistency of customer experience. And that I think is the minimum our customer deserves. But secondly, and more aspirationally, we are here as telco partners to be the partners of the nation in terms of economic progress. I cannot overemphasize that, because that's the bigger purpose why we are here, to enable a relatively poor nation compared to its counterparts to really become a first world country in the next few years. I know it's just too much to aspire for, but all of the things, all of the wonderful things that happen in the next few years were born out of lofty aspirations and love for the country. And that's what drives us to continuously strive to improve our services. What that also means is that we have to make sure that we enable our customers and harness all of the technologies available today to solve the biggest societal problems in the country, in health, in education, in fintech, financial inclusion, digital inclusion. Everything is there. We are at the cusp of digital transformation moving forward. And that means we have a bigger responsibility now as telcos to further the growth of the industry and make sure that the progress or the future or the bright future that every Filipino would aspire for and would love to happen in the next few years, as long as I hope I'm still alive when that happens, but we will try our best, really comes to bear in that such progress in a rosy economic future is something accessible to most, if not all, Filipinos. And I think that's the reason for being of all of the telcos. So we strive to make that happen, hopefully in the next few years. If not, next 5 years, we continue on.
Thanks, Darius. Thanks, Boy. I'd love to ask to give a round of applause because I think those words and the passion to build digital nations is what makes this industry great.